Good morning, traders. It is January 9th, 2024, and welcome to the Apteros Daily Market Insight for the ES. So let's get into our recap from yesterday's session, and then we will update our levels and plan for today. So taking a look at what was going on yesterday, we had kind of a neutral day across the board in terms of narrative. We were talking about this particular line in the sand right here, and essentially we were monitoring that for two different scenarios. Scenario one being a little less exciting, but a hold of that line in the sand based on the acceptance picture with a continuation here and then heading down into a bullish area. And then scenario two, I had mentioned the DMI was going to be a little bit more interesting if we ended up seeing a break to the upside. And we ended up getting up into this zone here and then holding above our line in the sand area here. And that was really the best opportunity to get on board with scenario two from the line in the sand zone. From there, we just kind of entered into a trend day where we just continued to move up through our references, hitting our overall target, which was this particular neutral area here. And then, of course, we pushed even further beyond that into one of our bearish higher time frame levels. And that's where we ended up seeing this market kind of stall out for the end of that session. And then the overnight market has kind of pushed down back into our overall neutral reference target zone here. So that was kind of the overall story of what was going on here. It was scenario two all the way and heading up into our main stretch targets and even going beyond that into our overall higher time frame bearish line in the sand. So that's where we're sitting right now. Let's update our levels for today and take a look at what's going on. All right, so taking a look at our plan for today, pretty straightforward. We have one particular line in the sand here coming from a couple of different time frames and kind of being the what is picture at this point. So looking at scenario one would be a bearish hold underneath that line in the sand, heading down into some neutral target areas. This lower band here, this is the main target area for the overall idea on that line in the sand. So if it continues to the downside, we have some neutral destinations below, and we can use them for continuation opportunities at the downside if it sets up that way. If not, the overall destination is down here around that 47, 44 type zone, and that would be kind of the end of the line for that bearish idea. Now, if we get above and we start looking at scenario two, where we break up above here, that would be a little bit more interesting because we'd be starting to see some shifting on some different time frames. And that would be heading up into some neutral destinations there. And then, of course, I have this marked up here. This is really just for reference. It's not a target. It is the previous highs, the more recent highs that we've seen last month. And that was really just a spot because the price action isn't on this chart. So you can't really see where that area is. But the expectation, if we continue to move upward, is actually, if we get up above the highs there, is to push up through into this upper neutral zone here around the 4880s. Okay, so that would be the general look at the bigger stretch target to the upside if we get something like that happening again today. So overall, right now, what we're looking at here is that's our line in the sand. Scenario one is what we're currently in right now, looking for continuation down into that overall destination for the neutral area there. If that fails and we start seeing a rally from this particular area, we get up above here. These two neutral references would be kind of a good spot to consider as overall destinations and targets. If we get kind of an extreme day like we kind of saw a trend day yesterday, then we'd be looking to clear out the previous price action high here and continue to the upside where we have a bigger destinations up above from some higher time frame stuff. So that is the overall game plan for today. Right now, we are currently sitting in a bearish line in the sand, and we are waiting to see if that holds or if it shifts. Right now, it's holding, so we are going with the what is picture to the downside and looking for lower destinations off of some neutral inflection areas.